Jaxson, just what have the last few months kind of been like for you? I bet it's kind of been a whirlwind.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I keep reflecting on it, and if you would have told me that my first year of college would have turned out this way, I would have told you you're crazy. But yeah, it's been quite a whirlwind, but I'm thankful for where I'm at right now.
How hard was it to leave USC?
It was really hard. Just like the bonds, the connections that I made there. My teammates, my friends. Leaving those guys was hard, but it was what was best for me and for me to achieve my goals for the future. So I kind of like to have it with that kind of mindset, but honestly, it was hard.
What was it about Ole Miss that made you ultimately decide to come here?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately just seeing the production that they had last year. Hearing about it on the news when I was playing at SC, and then watching highlights when I was in the portal and the meeting with the coaches. I loved how electric the offense is. It's super quarterback friendly, and I love the just the excitement and everything that carries around with it. I loved how Coach Kiffin has really turned some things around here and have brought it back to what it used to be, and so that was something that really excited me.
What's the relationship? Obviously, it's close with you and Trey, but both y'all come, and obviously wherever y'all might have gone, we're going to go together. Just what's that bond like between y'all?
Man, that's my brother. He came into SC. He wasn't an early enrollee, so he came a little bit later than me. But it was like right off the bat when we got to meet each other, we just became super close. And when all the discussion was going down with me getting in the portal, he texted me right away, and he's like, "Hey, bro, I'm going where you're going." And yeah, so I just think that our friendship's just really close, and we have that brotherhood.
How's your relationship with Luke Altmaier?
Yeah, Luke's a great kid. I remember one of my first days coming in here, we threw in the indoor facility with some of the receivers, and he was the first kid to come shake my hand. So he's a great kid, and I can tell that he's raised really well. And yeah, we're good friends.
On the field, how's kind of the competition, or maybe y'all don't view it that way, but how do y'all view this kind of this spring?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I came into SC in this similar position. I committed with another kid who was in my class, so for me, it's kind of similar. It's like I'm in the same position as I was when I first went to SC. We obviously have the same goals in mind, and I think it's just it's competition. It breeds the best out of both of us. It's going to push us and help us become better players ultimately.
You talked about the offense being a good fit. Just kind of how has the transition been these first couple of weeks? Is it as smooth as you thought it would be, or is some kind of intricacies that you learned?
Yeah, obviously it's new stuff for me. It was last week we'd come into the first 3 days, and there were new things that I haven't ran before. So just getting those reps really helps. But if I compare myself to where I was last spring to this spring, I feel like I'm a lot farther ahead. With just my knowledge of the game, and I think Coach Weiss has done a great job with that, with helping the quarterbacks understand defenses more and really meeting with us beforehand to get us ready before spring ball even started. I felt like we had almost at least 75% of the whole install in before spring ball had even started. So just meeting with him has been an easy transition for me, getting to know the offense. And from here on out, I think it's mostly just reps and understanding how guys play and their speeds and all that stuff.
What about the position you're looking to improve from this past year to the next as far as just your games involved?
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. I felt like last year I really got to have half of a quarter where I was actually really healthy and got to show what I'm capable of. I hurt my knee against Washington State, and I was out for a few weeks, and even when I came back, I wasn't 100%. So there's some things with my legs that I wasn't able to really showcase. But I would just say, you can't really be complacent on anything. You got to work at everything. I'd say a big thing for me is probably just my footwork and my timing to the different concepts that we have, and getting a good rhythm with that, because I feel like if my feet are right, then everything will play out good.
What you've seen so far, who's kind of stood out the most to you on the offensive side of the ball?
There's been a lot of guys. We have a lot of really, really good players. Mingo's been a big one to me. He's just like a leader, and he's a great athlete. I think he's going to be a guy coming into this next draft class that's kind of flying under the radar, and he's going to make a big name for himself. I feel like the offensive line group as a whole, they're really close and they communicate really well with one another, and they're all really, really solid players. All of our running backs, Zach, Dew, Contrell, those guys are really good players and they're really explosive. They got great speed, and I think that they're going to do a great job for us. I think that we're going to have one of the most talented offenses in the SEC, and I'm super excited for it.
We hear so much about quarterbacks being in the portal and the Wild West with NIL and all that stuff. From your experience being in there, how wild is that? Like, what is that experience like going through?
Yeah, it's crazy. When I was being recruited out of high school, my recruitment came really late, so there's only a select few of schools that I was in contact with. And it was like literally the second I got the email that I was going into the portal, I felt like I couldn't even like look at my phone. Like I just needed like space. So it was crazy because you kind of feel like you have an idea that you're going into the portal before you do, obviously. So you kind of have schools that you're interested in before being in contact with them. So you try to be respectful to all the coaches, but you kind of have like the select few that you're really looking at. But yeah, like right when I got in, like that was something that I wouldn't have never thought would have happened.
For a lot of portal guys, though, it's just like a one-year decision. For you,
Right.
it was more than that.
Right.
Did that change kind of the way you approached it in terms of maybe wanting to take your time or think about it, because it wasn't just having to go someplace for one season and play?
Yeah, definitely. I thought going to SC, I thought it was going to be a little bit more stable with the coaching staff. And like you said, I don't have just 1 year. So I got to make it, I had to make a decision based on, what was best for me for, possibly the next 3 years, right? So I was trying to find a stable place, and I'll be able to surround myself with people who would help me grow and develop as a player and as a person. So I think that because of that, it took a little bit more time, just because I had to dive into deeper things and try to get as much information as I can.
You probably don't want to get into specifics, but how much of a cloud was NIL over that whole thing? Were people throwing money amounts at you during the recruiting, or was that kind of never discussed?
I mean, I'm not a kid who looks for stuff like that. I'm a football player. I want to play football, and I feel like if I can play good on the field, that stuff will come. And that's my whole purpose. I committed to a school to play football, and that's my whole focus.
Did you keep up with SEC much when you were growing up in Utah?
I really didn't. It was mostly all just Pac-12. But I knew that when I was going into the portal, I wanted to go to the SEC. So those were like, some of the main schools. Because it gets you to develop for the NFL. I feel like if you can be successful in playing in the SEC, then it's an easier transition to the NFL. You play in a lot better competition, week in and week out. You're playing in really cool environments, and you got to make a lot of adjustments. You can't just, you can't. And there's some games in some conferences where you can just have better athletes than another team, and you can just outplay them just because you have better athletes. In this, it's more about scheme, and you have to schematically beat them, and you have to be smarter than them because they have just as good as players as you do. So that was a big reason why I chose to come to SEC.
Are you getting acclimated to living in Mississippi versus
Yeah, it's complete polar opposites than LA. I would say it's more similar to Utah and more just like how like controlled the environments are and how like just kind of more low key it is. So when I compare it to Utah, there's not like a whole big, like there's not a huge difference. But comparing it to LA and the things that I'm used to, it's kind of polar opposites. But I'm getting transitioned well into it for sure, and I love the aspect that you can come to work every day and you can focus on football. There's not as many distractions around you, and there's really good people around you who help push you to your goals.
Kind of branching off that, of course, Ole Miss had a reputation for having one of the best college campuses and college towns in America. Has it kind of lived up to it, even though you haven't been here all that long?
Yeah, no doubt. I still remember when me and Trig came on our visit, and we walked into just like a little restaurant with our families, and the amount of people who came up to us and knew who we were, and we were just on our visit, and students weren't even in school at the time, and I thought that was really cool, and I just love the support and how involved people are here. It's really cool. Right.
You talked with him at all about kind of transitioning?
Yeah, so me and Matt were in contact a lot when I was trying to decide between schools, because obviously he was coached by Coach Levy, and he's also, he was here. So, me and Matt had a lot of conversations, and, I think that I can say with confidence that he likes the South more than he likes the West Coast. And he had nothing but really good things to say about Mississippi.
I'm sure you've been asked 100 times, what's the story on the Pukas?
Jeez. There's not really anything crazy. I went to Hawaii my freshman year in high school, and I got a puka shell there. It kind of broke when I was in high school, and then I went back after, I guess it was this time last year, went back to Hawaii and saw some puka shells that I liked and decided to start wearing it, and then I liked it, and I kind of just stuck with it, and they've been really good for me. With just they stay on during games, and I can wear them wherever I go, and I kind of feel like that's kind of like my thing now, so I have to rock with it.
I don't remember if this was brought up previously, but Lane obviously being a West Coast guy too. Have y'all gotten a chance to kind of connect in y'all's time in the West Coast and growing and learning there?
Yeah, he, like you said, he coached at SC for a while. He has his family who lives in California, so when I was in California with my family, he came out and we had a home visit in California when I was there just training, and he's helped a lot with my transition, because he's had to transition from place to place, and he's been a huge advocate.